So the NIL also is tied into the portal, and the reason
Yeah,
why kids are jumping in the portal to
bouncing.
some degree. They
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
for the bag, right?
absolutely.
But here's one thing I want to ask you. The numbers that you keep sending me about how many kids are going into the portal, and you can give me those numbers in a minute. The numbers you keep sending me,
Uh-huh.
they're able to be tracked now. Ubong, just like the money and shit is able to be tracked now. There are platforms that track everything, right? So they're tracking the number of these kids who are in the portal. Do you think that the same amount of kids were leaving schools before, whether it be they're in the wrong program, they're bouncing, they're going to a JC, they're trying to transfer to another school, but it just wasn't tracked before? I'm asking you
Okay.
guys: is do you think
I,
maybe not to the scale of
the,
what's going on with the
no, yeah, I
portal,
was gonna say,
but
yeah.
Kevin, are you gonna tell me that it wasn't thousands of kids during our time that were leaving schools and looking for other situations?
It was, but not on the scale that it is right now, because back then there were ramifications. Like you had to sit out a year.
Correct.
And one guy that comes to mind is Luke Recker. Luke Recker was an All American, graduated high school, same year as Baron Davis, 97. Um, Luke Recker was, so he was All American, so he's one of the best players in the country. I believe he went to Indiana first, and he didn't play in Indiana. He ended up transferring to Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and he had to sit a year at Arizona. And then after having to sit a year at Arizona, Gilbert Arenas came in, kind of messed things up, and he transferred somewhere else. And we never heard of Luke Recker again. But so you had people that fell into that kind of category, and that's what reduced the number of transfers because they didn't want to fall into the category of Luke Recker, where you sit, you lose a year, a new crop of talent comes in, you're fighting, you're battling, you may lose your opportunity, and then we never hear from you again.
Okay.
Now it's you transfer, you play right away,
Okay.
and you get in the bag with that.
And so, do you have any issue with the portal?
I fucking love the portal.
Okay, I was
I love
wondering. I
I
was
love it.
wondering because
I,
when you send me these
it's a
messages, I'm like, man, is Kevin
it's
sending
a
me these like he's saying, man, this is bullshit, or is
now
he
let me
just
say this.
sending this to me to be like, man, check this out? I'm like, damn, it's another portal message, and it's
I
showing
love this
me
shit.
that the number has increased. Like, what?
I
What's
love this shit because it gives the players power.
okay?
Power that they didn't have before to change their situation, and it holds coaches accountable. So
Okay,
now situation happened with you. For
I was
those
gonna
that don't know,
say.
yeah, yeah. For those that
Let me
don't
tell
know,
you then.
yeah, go and tell your
Let me
story,
tell you.
man. Go ahead.
Whenever you send it to me, I'm always like, I wish we had the portal
Yeah,
because when I started, well, when we were getting recruited,
yeah,
as you know, you were at my house when I was getting calls from a bunch of schools.
absolutely.
I did
Hang that
not,
shit up, man. Don't answer. I'm visiting. Don't hang.
right. I did not sign with them. My stuff
Yeah,
like dried up. My D1 offers dried up, and back then we were on the D1 or bust thing, right? So
absolutely.
I had a lot of D1 offers. I didn't take any because I was waiting for something bigger. Always waiting for something bigger. All the
But they
shit
were
dried.
telling you that
They,
they were telling you
they
that
were
something bigger was
they
coming.
were they were. The
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
dried up though. The shit dried up. I ended up
yeah,
having to sign with UC Davis. They're D1 now. They were transitioning to D1, D2 at the time. A lot of shit went down. Davis sold me a dream. Like shit didn't go right. Um, I felt kind of duped. I didn't feel supported. A lot of shit. It was
yeah.
just a whole new world out there, even outside of basketball. But I had no clue. We went to JC. We transferred JC. Went to the same JC to play together. So I'm like, fuck this. I'm gonna just go JC, and then I'm gonna go to a D1 after this, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna bounce back to a D1. But when I go JC,
the
you
four two
remember
four rule. The
the
four
four
two
two
four
four
rule.
rule. But I
You,
also had an
you,
opportunity with
wait, you got to break down the
UC
4-2-4.
Riverside.
You
Hold
got to
on.
talk about the four
I
two. Okay.
will. I had an opportunity with UC Riverside when they came in
Hmm.
to work me out, but I could not take a scholarship from them at the time because of the 4-2-4 rule, which is if you go to a 4-year university first and then you transfer to a 2-year, you have to complete the 2-year degree before you transfer back to a 4-year university.
Yeah,
4-2-4.
they get your ass for 2 years.
Nigga,
They don't tell you that. They,
do
they
you
don't
do
tell you
you
that.
know that shit fucked me up? NCAA rules fucked me up.
Yeah,
If I
they
had the
don't tell you that.
portal, if I had the portal back then, I would have just entered the portal. Like fuck it.
Absolutely.
I had D1s that was fucking with me before. They still know who I am. I'm about to just enter the portal and see where it's at. See if I can get somebody to pick me back up and from a school that was fucking
Oh,
with me before and go to the portal.
in, in 2024.
Nah, I'm saying back then, if I had
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
portal,
yeah, yeah.
I would have
Yeah,
done
Yeah,
that.
no, no.
But I didn't
yeah.
have
Yeah.
the portal. So
Damn, that's a crazy
when
rule.
Kevin is sending me all these messages, I'm wondering like, man, is my nigga not filling the portal, or is he
Now,
like, or is
there's
he
parts of
sending
it.
me this like it's some bullshit?
There's
Like,
parts of it that I don't like though. And the part that I don't like, my second oldest son, senior in high school, right? And right now we're trying to figure out what he's going to do next year. Where he wants to play college basketball. He had an offer from ninth grade, but each year, like they kind of have to renew the offer. You can't. It's not a long-standing offer. So he had that offer. He doesn't have that offer anymore. So come 12th grade now, basketball season's over. He has nothing. And what's happening to a lot of children, if they're not high 4-star recruits and 5-star recruits, they're now at the mercy of the portal. And college coaches are going to the portal to get these children out of the portal to play for their programs more so than going to get a high school player. So it's players that are in college that average 2 points a game and they hit the portal, they're a hot fucking commodity.
yeah,
They
crazy.
they may have like 12 schools that are like, oh man, yeah, yeah, come over here. We want you. We want you. And you average 2 points. And you in your fourth year of college.
Right.
You look at that like the average 2 points. You might as well go get a high school senior and build that up. But people don't want to develop anymore. They want a
No.
ready-made product. That's what it's turned into. And so that's the part where I'm like, you have to do something because there are too many high school players that are sitting in limbo for a long time, waiting for everything to pass through. The
Do
portal is
do
open
what
until
though?
May 1st.
But do what though?
I
You
don't. I
say you
don't
have to
know.
do something. Do what?
They're just I don't
What
know. There
what's the
just
what's
have
the
to.
trade off? But what's the trade off for giving the institutions have had the power all these years?
My nigga Umang is
What's the
those. My,
yeah, Ubon
my
about
nigga
to doze
Umang is
off.
bulldozing.
What's
No, 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 no. I'm trying to go get some water. Hold on.
what's the trade off? What's the trade off for what's the trade off for giving the kids less?
A chance
Yeah, no,
or what?
no. If you're in the portal, you're saying you have to do something. The portal exists so kids are able to make the decision that okay, this is not working
Absolutely.
for me. I'm
Yeah.
going to go find something else. You're saying you have to do something because of the fact that it's affecting the high school kids that aren't getting an
And
opportunity because they look to the portal first. But how do you balance that out? Like I don't want to have to take this power away from these kids who now have the ability that we did not have.
part of
I'm
the
I, I'm
but part of
so happy that they're able to do it now.
part of the issue though is that you had COVID years. There are still players out there that have an extra COVID year. So these players they've gotten 5 and 6 and some
True.
7 years of schooling, and it's backlogged the scholarships.
And I was
So
gonna
I
mention
Okay,
that,
so
but
so
it's
hold
that's
on.
but that's another like
no, I'm just saying. So how do you fix? So you could you ask how do you fix it? I think that each institution you have to take a certain amount of freshmen. Maybe it's two.
So
Maybe
excuse
maybe
my ignorance. Excuse my ignorance, but what's the advantage? And maybe I missed that. But what's the advantage of taking a fifth year senior in in college, or a third or fourth year kid in the portal, as opposed to taking a young dude who you can groom fresh out of high school? Like,
well,
did,
where's your
did
advantage of taking the kid in the portal over taking a kid out of high school?
for
Because
start
that
did
sounds
you,
kind of
for
backwards.
okay? So
starters, it's you got to win now type atmosphere
absolutely.
everywhere. You don't have
Yeah,
time. These coaches don't have time to build programs anymore. Unless you've been there for, 10 years and you got a big name, they'll give you some leeway.
yeah.
But if not, like you have to win now, right? And if you have a kid who's already played a few years in college and is stronger and is used to the grind and is used to the way the game is played and has shown, some capability, if the two kids are comparable, you're probably going to go with the stronger kid with more experience versus the inexperienced kid who may or may not work out and may be in
Did
the portal, may be jumping in the portal on your ass after the first year if they do well or
so
not.
the other thing? Did you see the Kentucky Oakland game in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
Kentucky got upset.
and that's a prime example of the portal versus taking the top high school recruits. John Calipari took All Americans, 5-star one and done players, and played against Oakland, a small mid major college that took children from the portal, but they were older, physically stronger, and understood the college game more. And Calipari got his ass kicked and has been getting his ass kicked for the last couple years. So now we're seeing that
So
the Calipari method of picking five stars that are one and dones isn't working. You now have to go to the portal to get these older children for the college game. Doesn't mean that they're going to be better pros, but they're better college players at the moment. They're bigger, they're
and
stronger, they understand how to play. And what's up?
and that's funny because, like, my first thought is, okay, well, if you're a high school kid, then you'll probably settle at a mid major because those programs typically give the coaches more leeway, give them more time to build the program. But now, even like a mid major team, right? What's the dude that got fired while he
Long
made the
Beach State.
dance?
Long Beach State.
Long Beach State, right? That's
He
that
he had
dude
he
in
had
years
been there for a
past.
while. Yeah.
Okay.
He had
So
been
he
there for
did
a
he
while.
did
He had won the Big West maybe I think 2 times before.
okay. Okay.
And then the last one was his, the most recent. They won it again to get to
The
the tournament.
the cold thing about that is I had heard from a source back in November that nigga was already fired. So it
Oh,
did it didn't matter that they were going to make the NCAA tournament. It did not matter. He was
But
done.
Ubong, there, Kevin, there's a situation closer to home for you because there's another coach who was in the same similar situation in the WCC, right?
Absolutely.
And that's
Ab- uh,
Romar
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
at
Romar
Pepperdine.
got Romar got the axe. It was crazy. Yeah, Romar got the axe. My son played against him in the last game. He was already fired, and they let him finish out the WCC tournament. And his team played against my son's team, San Diego. San Diego beat them, so that was their last game. and it was crazy because San Diego's. It came down to a last second 3-point shot that was made to give San Diego a 3-point victory. So after the game was over, they shook hands and the players are crying and their locker rooms were right next to each other. So San Diego celebrating in one locker room and Pepperdine's crying in another locker room. And then I go to
This
I
nigga
go to
changed
see
his
my
team,
son
boy.
because he's getting on the bus, and the Pepperdine bus is right next to the San Diego bus. So they're both coming out the locker rooms, and Pepperdine, they're boo-hooing, they're bawling, crying right next to San Diego as they're rejoicing. It was
They
it was like
popping champagne.
yeah, it
San
was like the
Diego
oddest
bumping into
thing.
them niggas like, yeah, nigga.
It was the oddest thing. And Ubong, we talked about Michael Porter's brother, right?
Yeah.
He has another brother that played for Pepperdine, and 5 minutes after the game was over, this nigga's name was already mentioned on social media as to going into the portal.
Wow.
5 minutes
I
after the game
mean,
was over.